This is Bilal Randeree, and I'm at the Aljazeera forum with Professor Mohammed el-Nawawy, who's from Queen's University of Charlotte. Hi, thanks for speaking to me. Could you give us a brief introduction to yourself?
I'm interested in Arab media, particularly the new media, and their impact on the public sphere in the Middle East. I did write the first book in any language on Aljazeera network, and I also conducted a big study on Aljazeera English back in 2008. My book came out in 2003, and the study on Aljazeera English came out in 2008.
Oh, so since you've been following Al Jazeera for a long time, can you speak about the change in, if any, Al Jazeera that you've seen from 2007, 2008 until December now of 2010?
On Al Jazeera English?
Well, the network in general, but maybe Al Jazeera English in specific.
Well, if we start with the network in general, I think what we have been witnessing for the past few weeks have really further elevated Al Jazeera as a brand name inside and outside the Arab world, particularly among Arab viewers, thanks to its amazing coverage on the ground and the fact that it has been really as close as possible to the events as they unfold, as they are still unfolding on the ground in Libya, and before that in Egypt and Tunisia. So that definitely has changed, has further elevated Al Jazeera in people's eyes.
But has that only been within the Middle East, the Arab region, or what has been the global shift on the view of Al Jazeera?
Where for Al Jazeera English, for example, I believe the viewership for the Al Jazeera English has also skyrocketed thanks to its coverage, particularly in Egypt. I know that their viewership has gone up by 2,300%, which is, I think, amazing. And many of those viewers have come from the US, where Al Jazeera is not being watched on the major cable carriers. Al Jazeera is only watched in three cities in the US. That's where the cable carriers have agreed to carry it. Other than that, people watch it streamed online.
And do you think there's any valid criticisms, the main valid criticisms of Al Jazeera network as a whole at the moment?
Well, I think Al Jazeera has been treated unfairly, particularly in the American market, and that was because, unfortunately, during the Bush administration, it was framed as a bin Laden network, and I think that Al Jazeera as a brand is still suffering from that, in the U.S. market. Other than that, I think it's doing great, and I think all over Europe and Latin America, and for example, the coverage of Al Jazeera English in Latin America and Africa has been especially great, and I think they have made a name for themselves in these parts of the world where no other network has really has been covering these regions on that kind of scale.
Specifically, we've heard more recently criticisms focused on perhaps what some see as a lack of coverage of some issues within the Gulf region, particularly Saudi Arabia and Bahrain. Any comment on that?
Lack of coverage by Al Jazeera?
Yes.
Al Jazeera has been covering the Libya situation more, the Egypt revolution, the Tunisian revolution. I think Bahrain is a smaller country, and the nature of protests in Bahrain are very different from the protests from the revolutions in Tunisia, Egypt, and now in Libya. Bahrain is more of a sectarian revolution between Shias and Sunnis, and so I think given that situation, it's bound to happen that the coverage is not going to be as intense as it would be. As far as Saudi Arabia, I'm not sure what. They still cover Saudi Arabia, but I personally would like them would like Al Jazeera to cover more of what's happening inside Saudi Arabia.
Thanks so much for your time. This interview is going to be up on our website. That's aljazeera.net/English, and we hope to see you through the rest of the forum.
Thanks. It's my pleasure.